Okay,
Uh,
welcome. And we are live on Facebook. I want to welcome you, Ahmad-Shah Duranai, on Dela's Voice once again. Thank you for being here,
well,
my friend. And thank you for everybody who's joining us this evening. Um, it's it's wonderful to be here on Facebook Live on a Friday night at 9 p.m. because usually
yeah,
people have
well,
things to
well,
do, but times have
thank
changed.
you. Thank you very much for inviting me. Give me a second so I can share
Yeah,
from your timeline to my timeline so that,
you do that, and I'm gonna log into Facebook here so that I can watch as people leave us messages and comments. I want to make sure that we connect with everybody. I'm asking everybody to interact with us this evening because this is a very highly interesting topic, and we're going to be talking
yes,
about keeping our relationships flourishing while social distancing. These are new vocabulary, Ahmad Shah. Do you
by the
agree?
way, in one of my Facebook live programs, a friend from Australia, she objected to the word social distancing, and she said it should be physical distancing. And today, the Canadian government, the public health authorities, they changed it. They don't call it now social distancing
Oh,
anymore.
interesting. No, I
Yeah,
didn't catch that. But that
yeah,
makes total sense, doesn't it? Because we're
yeah,
not socially distancing. If
yeah,
anything, I have to tell you, Ahmed, I am more social in the past week that I have been isolating at home than ever before.
yeah, yeah. So sometimes even the governments, they don't use the correct vocabulary.
It's true, and we ought to be more careful. Okay, so from now on, people, actually, that's that's the topic of tonight's talk. I wrote down social distancing. From now on, it's going to change to physical distancing.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, no, it's not, but that's how the government was using it. So
I
we
guess so.
we were just cooperating with our
Yes,
authorities.
yes. Speaking of cooperation, I know that there's a lot of talks about people staying at home, and I just want to reiterate that if you are coming back into Canada, please go home and stay home for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
The
we
people
have,
are begging this. This is for our own good.
yeah, we have to cooperate with our authorities or those people that we have voted to protect us. And
Yes,
now they are
yes.
asking us that this is what you should do so we
Hmm.
can protect you.
Hmm.
So we have to do that. We have to keep the physical distance, if I use the correct word, the 2 meter physical distance. And if we don't have any essential reason to go out and do something, stay at home. Maybe if we have a backyard, maybe we can go to the backyard and play there, do some exercise, some stretching, and things like that. But otherwise, especially people who come from a trip, they should socially isolate themselves.
Hmm.
and
Physically.
and yes,
Yes, physically isolate themselves.
self-isolation. That's right.
Yes, yes,
Mm,
absolutely. So I don't want to waste any time, and I
mm.
want to start this talk because I think it's a fantastic talk and it's going to be so interesting. How can we bridge our physical distancing and keep our relationships flourishing? That is the topic of tonight's talk. And I want us to go through your book also because
Well,
there's a
thank
lot
you.
of there's a lot in there. Your book is called The Leadership Zone. I have started reading your book, Ahmed, and I have to say it is fantastic. Thank you for writing it. It is so well written, so easy to read and understand, and I've had a lot of aha moments. But
Well, thank you very much.
specifically
Thank you very
talking
much.
of, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to specifically talk about relationships.
Yes.
So go ahead and start us off. Why is this an important topic to talk about right now?
So let me tell you a story. Okay. We'll start it with that.
I love stories.
During my university years and the first few years after university, I was living in Lebanon. And there was a civil war in Lebanon. Sometimes it was very hot. Bombs and mortar shells were falling all over the places. And we will go to the basement and hide there. Sometimes we'll be in the street and caught in a crossfire where bullets were flying over our head, 1 meter above my head, machine gun bullets in one instant that went there. And for months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, nothing will happen to me in terms of worries and fear because the airport was open. As soon as, for some reason, the government will announce that the airport is closed, fear will strike everybody. Oh, the airport is closed. What is going to happen now? Like the bombs and the shells and the bullets were not as scary as the closing of the airport
Mm-hmm.
because some restrictions were
That's right.
put on us. Here also, like we could stay a whole week in the house and nothing will happen. We could take time off for the whole weekend and don't even get out of the house and nothing will happen. But as soon as the public authorities and the government says self-isolation, stay home and don't go out, fear strikes everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that external thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because here we live in this situation where because of the virus, we have to stay at home and we have to keep the physical distance with other people, most people in their mind are worried about their relationships. Well, if we cannot go, if we cannot hug them, if we cannot shake hands with them, and if we cannot go to their homes because we might be carrying the virus, then what is going to happen to our relationships?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it is very important to put this on the table and to look at it in a very cool and rational way at
What
the
do you mean?
situation.
What do you mean? Cool and rational. How?
So cool and rational for me means that there is no fear. The emotion of fear is not in the equation. We put our fear aside, we look at it, at the situation, and see whether our relationships are really in danger or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And are we really isolated from people who count in our life?
Okay, so that brings me actually to your book. May I?
Okay, sure.
Okay. You talk about the 9 different environments
Yes.
that affect us, and one of those environments is called relationship environment.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to read this from your book. Okay, it's a straight
Go
quote
ahead.
from your book. Relationship environment consists of your soulmate or spouse, family, and the 5 to 10 people you spend most time with, including your close friends and colleagues in the workplace. This environment can be a source of inspiration, love, connection, support, and true intimacy. Now, when I read this, I'm like, wow. I mean, there's so much truth to this. Only 5 to 10 friends, really? That's who counts, really?
for all of these things. For all of these things that you just mentioned, intimacy and love, and you don't need actually more than 5 to 10 people.
It's
But
so true. So
but
true.
but what you might have heard when you have gone to seminars and workshops, that they will tell you that tell me who 5 people closest with you are and what their income is, and I will tell you what your income is going to be.
Yes, I've heard that many times.
So it's the same thing. It's not just about income. It's about your social status. It's about your social relationships. It's about your contribution. Your contribution will be the average of those 5 people's contribution,
Mhm,
etc. So it is so important.
mhm.
In addition to what in the book I refer to this as the relationship environment, because of their continuous interactions with us, they are also part of our mimetic environment, which is
Explain that, please.
the, the mimetic environment are when we are children, our parents, our teachers, our people in, if you are a Muslim, the imam of the masjid you go to, if you are Christian, the church that you go to, the priests, the people of authority that are interacting with you create your mimetic environment.
Okay.
That means whatever they think affects you, whatever they do affect you. Their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, their behavior affect you directly. And it is the environment that is closest to you. But as you grow up, obviously some of those authority figures may not exist anymore. They put their imprint on you. They kind of branded you with their ideas, with their behavior, and they may be there or they may not be there. So the closest people who are with you are your soulmate or spouse, or the closest people with whom you associate. They affect you in the same way. They affect your thoughts, they affect your feelings, they affect your income, and they affect everything in your life.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that
Yeah,
explanation. Okay. So now back to our talk.
sure.
All right. So now we know that our relationship environment consists of these people, of these few
Mhm.
people. Now with this physical distancing, where some of us are so afraid of losing those relationships, what's the truth in there?
Okay, so obviously um, you attended 50% of the verbal Aikido.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Half of
so
it. Yes.
in verbal Aikido, we tell people, and it's a fact, but we verbalize it in that workshop, and we say that the human being is like a raging river. When you consider all the emotions, all the feelings that they have, all the thoughts that they have, their entire reality loop that has been created, all the experience, all their education, and the environments that have produced their present status is so complex and so deep, it's like a raging river. So when we are face to face with them in close proximity, we talk with them. In terms of communication, the language and the symbols that we have created is so limited that it's very difficult for that person to express everything to us in language, which might include actions and the words that you use, the way you use the words, and their body language is still not enough to express what is inside them. And we see that when we are physically present with them, in close proximity, it is like putting that raging river through a fire hose.
Yes.
And it's like taking all those emotions and put it in a zip file and send it to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And now the other person unzips it, and hopefully he has the knowledge, the software, the skill to unzip it and then read it. Obviously, you cannot read everything in it
Mm-hmm.
because that zip file may not be working properly.
Mm-hmm.
So that is no more possible. Even that is not possible with the physical distance. The next level is when we use the technology of the social media, like what you and I are doing now, we see each other through the medium of technology, through the medium of Zoom. Okay, this one is like taking that raging river and pass it through a garden hose. That means we still cannot comprehend the entire body language and the entire emotions and everything that I have or you have. We cannot express it properly. But this is the second best thing that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is that this is the now with the physical distance that is imposed on us, this is the best way to bridge that gap, the physical gap,
Mm-hmm.
and reach out to the people who matter in our life, people for whom we care. Let's reach out to them and talk to them through the technologies, the medium of technology,
Mm-hmm.
and inquire about them, have a conversation. Hopefully, it's an intimate conversation. Try, the best intimate conversation is that if a person you haven't spoken with them for some time, you ask them some questions about them. Hopefully, they're open-ended questions so that they just won't say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Open-ended questions are that when you ask them some question and then they start talking.
Mm-hmm. And so,
Once they start
yeah,
talking,
that's a skill, Ahmed.
yes, yeah. I had put on Facebook as well as on LinkedIn this thing that it's a human need to talk, but it's a human skill to listen.
Absolutely.
And then I'd ask people that if you are able, please check on your relatives, on your friends, and those you care about, and practice your listening skill.
Mm-hmm.
When a person needs to talk and you are there to listen to them and you acknowledge them, they will think that you are the best person in conversations. He is the best talker. While you may not have spoken at all the talking might have been done by them, they will still feel that you talk to them because what happens is that they will feel that they are heard, understood, accepted, and respected, which is one of the principles of verbal Aikido
Mm-hmm.
in
And those are pretty
conversation.
much universal needs for every human being,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We all need that. May I just say something here?
Mm.
And I heard this from my niece a while back when I asked her how she was doing. She said, fine. I said, how are you really doing? And then she said, isn't this interesting? Because her aunt had asked her previously, how is your soul doing? Meaning that's a totally different question. And I make that a habit now. So when my son's 17 and he's home now. And so I have to ask him how he's doing. But when he just says, fine, I say, how's your soul doing? And that's just a totally different question. And it takes a second or two, and he really has to think about it. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that's so
Yeah.
important.
So, um, so we are talking about relationships and how to keep them flourishing. Let me tell you, one of my mentors. You know, we'll come back to Verbal Aikido, which is a program that James McNeil has developed, and I'm a master trainer of the program. But we'll come
Excellent
back to that.
program.
Yeah,
I want to say it's an excellent program, by the
it's
way.
the best program in the world. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So one of my other mentors, he has a formula. He says that the relationship triangle, so if you consider this as a triangle, what you see,
Yes.
is your wealth triangle. The area of this triangle is your wealth. And wealth is not just money.
No.
Wealth is like, if you go to my book, it is family, it is your values, it's your heritage, it's your relationships, it's your education, it's your network, it's your contribution to the world, and your money and bank account and all of those put together. So this triangle has a property that there is something at the top and there is something here and something here. Okay. If any one of them changes, the others will change automatically. So if what is here becomes bigger, the other two will become bigger and the area of the triangle will become bigger. And if this one is reduced, the other two will reduce and the area of the triangle will also reduce. Your wealth will reduce. Now, let me tell you what they are here.
Okay.
At the top of the triangle is the quantity of your relationships.
The quantity.
The quantity, the number of
Yeah.
people that you consider as part of your relationship environment. On the left side, I don't know from you if this is the left or not, but on the left side.
Your left is my right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the left side is the quality of your relationships. And on the right side is the security of your relationships. So every individual has those three magnitudes in their relationships. They have a certain number of people in their relationship environment. Some of those are very high quality, and some of them are extremely secure. That means others are not as secure. So what happens is that if our relationships flourish and we increase the number of people in our relationship, some of those will also increase the quality of our relationships, and some will join our secured relationships. They will all increase.
It's all related.
It's related, exactly. And that area of the triangle becomes our wealth. So that's why relationships are very important. But there is another dimension to it. If I want, I hope the people who are listening to it will benefit from it. Oh, there are some people. There is Asadullah, there is Farida, there is Wahid, and Austin. Austin, you know, I think.
Haynes! Oh, that's
thank
amazing.
you for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Robin and Linda and Jim. There are lots of people watching.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Some of them, it's even from Australia. There are some people who are listening to us. So we are international.
Awesome. Dela's voice is international.
So we were talking about the relationship triangle that it creates. Okay, now in this relationship triangle, we could also include, people who do business with us, people who have spiritual relationship with us, people who have family relationships with us. But look at this relationship in another way, which also comes from the same teacher of mine and mentor. He's from South Africa. His name is Meir Ezra. Consider that there are three concentric circles. There is a circle in the middle, and there is a bigger circle, and there is a third circle. In reality, there are, considering the entire universe, there are 8 circles. Okay. But let's focus on the 3 circles.
Okay.
So the middle circle is the self. And it is very important for us that our relationship with the self is of a high quality, which means that we have to take good care of ourselves. we have to be secure, and we have 11 major organs that comprise our body. We have to take care of each one of those systems, if I might call it. Organs are systems in our body, like respiratory system, cardiovascular system, nervous system, just to give some examples.
Mm-hmm.
We have to take good care of them and have excellent relationships with them. Now, this one we can always do because it is not affected by the physical distancing.
Right.
The-
Completely in our own control.
yes, it's in our own control. The second circle is the circle of our people of intimate relationship, which is family. It's the second dynamic, if I use the correct terminology. So the central circle is the first dynamic, which is the survival of the self. The second one is the family dynamic. So then once we are secure and we have good relationships with the self, then we can come from a position of strength and improve our relationships with the family.
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. It
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Once that one is secure, then we go to the next level, the third level, which are our friends and our network, or as in the personal development domain, people look at it, our tribe.
Yes.
Then we extend our, our relationships to them. The first one we can control, the second one we manage, and the third one we influence.
So the first one we control, which is our own.
Yes.
The
The
second
second one, because other people are involved, we cannot control other people,
That's
but
right.
we can manage our.
We can manage.
Yes, because there are certain bonds that exist between the first and the second dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one are the third circle, we can influence those people.
Oh my God, I totally get that. That's amazing. That's
Okay.
so interesting. Can I just interrupt you for 1 second? Our circle just grew. Mal Khan from London has also joined us from UK, I guess, right? And
oh yeah.
Yes, and we have
That's strange.
Farah. Yeah.
There are on my timeline there are people joining also, which
That's
I think
awesome.
didn't appear.
This
So
is
there
so
is
cool.
Elizabeth Bone has joined,
Yeah.
and there is Farah Quraishi.
Yes.
Oh, you know her.
Yes,
She's saying
of
hi
course.
to you.
Yeah. There's Rosemary Especial.
There is Mal Khan. There is Rosemary. Many people are joining.
That's amazing. Well, Ahmad, I gotta tell you, this topic of relationships and keeping them right now is a big topic. I mean, yeah. It's all we've got, to be honest with you, and so it's worth talking about. So, okay, I love what you're saying. The three circles: the circle of self, which we control. The second circle is our family, which we manage, and the third circle is our tribe or our outside relationships,
our community
that we influence. Awesome. Yeah. Keep going, please.
Okay, so because of the physical distance, mostly the most intimate family, we don't have any problem because we live in the same house. But a lot of people who live in a nuclear family, in an apartment or in a house, just with the children and the spouses, the husband and wife and the kids, they also have extended family. And if they come from an area like you and I come from that part of the world, we have big extended families.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. We do. Yes.
So that is where, in order to manage our relationships with them, we need this technology of either Zoom or Skype or Messenger or whatever other means is available that we can see each other through the the wonders of technology. We can see them, we can have a chat with them, we can inquire. And if we are in good shape because we have taken care of our first dynamic, then we can actually listen to them. Let them talk, let them express themselves. Because with isolation, people want to talk, but there is no way. So what happens is their container becomes full and full, and they want to express it. And the best way we can let them empty their container is by listening to them. Listening in such a way that we empathize with them, listening in such a way that we acknowledge them, listening in such a way that they feel appreciated, that they feel heard, understood, accepted, and respected. And if we can do that, our relationship will go through the roof.
Amazing. Let me just say this, okay, for a lot of people, when I've noticed this, a lot of people don't need a solution. They don't talk to you because they are looking for an answer to their problems. Yeah. They just want to talk. They just want to be heard. And when you say empathy, that's exactly it, isn't it? What is the true meaning of empathy, Ahmed, please?
The true meaning of empathy, the way I understand. So let me tell you that there are 7 levels of listening.
Yes, let's do that.
7 levels. We don't have time to go through all the 7 levels, but we will go through the last 2, the 2 deep. Important ones, okay? One of them is called active listening. And active listening, the best way to express it is to use the word listen as an acronym. So the L stands for active listening, is that you look at the person culturally appropriately. Okay. Are you there?
I am. I'm trying to make sense of it. So the first letter stands for listening.
So across the screen, let's say, if I look at the camera, I will be listening. I will be looking at you. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if we are in a particular culture and we are on the other side of the gender barrier, and if we look too much at each other, it will be culturally inappropriate.
I get it. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Or people will say that, why are you staring at me?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Or look in the eyes.
Look in the eye, but appropriately.
Yes, appropriately. Okay. Yes.
The I stands for inquire. You ask some questions, open-ended questions, to see, can you tell me more? What else? Mm-hmm. Etc. When they are talking about the story, because you come from a position where you are secure, you have taken care of your first dynamic. Mm-hmm. So you can ask them, say, tell me what else, what else happened? How did you feel about it? Etc. And let them express so they can empty their container. Mm-hmm. Then the S stands for summarize, to summarize it back to them. Say, oh, this was a fantastic story you told me. This is how I understood. You just, in a few words, say, is it correct? This is how it happened. This is what you meant. And they will either confirm it or they will correct you. And the T stands for taking notes. And these taking notes don't have to be with a pen and paper. They can be just mental notes.
Mental notes,
but
yes.
However, if it is related to something important, you could get a permission. You say, can I, this is important things you're talking about. Do you mind if I jot down a few things on a piece of paper? Mm-hmm. And then later on, you can use it in the next part. Mm-hmm. And then the E stands for encourage them to talk more.
So again, tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. What else? How did that happen?
What is that? What do you mean?
Yeah, okay. So some of the verbal aikido tools, for example. Okay. And the N stands for neutralize your feelings. Neutralize your feeling means that you don't pass judgment on what they said. That it was excellent, it was good, or it was bad. and I don't like it, or why did you do like that? No,
Mm.
no feelings. Put your feelings aside, your judgment aside. That's how they will then say that, yes, you know, they felt heard, understood, accepted, and respected.
And if you do all those, it
Yeah.
sounds to me like you have gotten the true meaning of empathy.
So
Empathetically
there
listening.
is one difference
O-
between active listening and empathetic listening.
Okay.
In the empathetic listening, you don't neutralize your feelings. You try to experience being in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't judge them, but you try to imagine if you were in their place, how will you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one level deeper level of listening.
So saying statements like, that must be really tough for you.
Yeah. And then
You
say,
sound really
yeah, oh
frustrated.
my God, now that I think about it, if I were in your place, this is how I will feel.
Ah. Oh, that's so good,
Okay.
right?
Mm,
Yeah, that makes a person feel really understood.
exactly. So,
That's so good.
so,
Okay. All
and
right.
this one doesn't need physical distance. There are
No,
people who are close side by side. Instead of talking like this, they will fight with each other.
it's true.
So that's why I'm saying is that even though there is physical distance, you can still have a flourishing relationship with those people that matter in your life.
Yes, absolutely. But so that brings me back to the very first thing you said. When the most important thing is, but you got to be okay with yourself first. You got to take care of you
Yes.
first,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we can't be any use to the people around us if we're not in a good place.
Yeah. There are some comments. Let's see if you asked for them to participate. So let's see what they
Yes.
say.
Okay. Let's see. But I see Farah, Farah Qureshi. I shared to some friends. They are coming soon, hopefully. So that's great. Thank you, Farah. The more people can listen to this talk, the more people can benefit from it. I think it's so important to know how um, to work on our relationships right now, especially right now, because
Yeah.
we are connecting. Like we've never had before. I really feel that right now. Do you see
Yeah.
any
Let me see.
comments on your
There
screen?
are some comments
Yeah,
here.
go
Okay.
ahead.
So Farida says it is fantastic talk about how to maintain the relationships. Thank you all for bringing this topic on the table.
You're welcome.
And then there is Mal Khan says, kind of interesting conversation. Never paid attention in my life to this so important. So thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
you see, we are impacting people.
That's amazing. That's great. This is awesome. I mean, I I love that we're doing this. But I got to tell you, speaking about flourishing relationships, and I think I told you the other day, Ahmed, that I use this technology now more than ever, because it's available to us, first of all, and I've had time to practice it and learn it, and I
Yeah,
use it to get connected to my girlfriends that I may not even see a couple of times a year. We can have a chat
exactly.
like this. It's awesome.
And just for the viewers, they may know already better than us, but if they don't know,
Yeah.
they can
Maybe they can
create
teach us.
they can create a messenger group, right?
Yeah.
Like we have in the accountability group that we have,
Yes,
and they can talk and see each other.
that's
They can
right.
have a group conversation, 3, 4 people together, or they can have the free version of the Zoom that we are using now,
Hmm.
where they can have many people and can have a conversation for up to 40 minutes with people, where 3, 4, 5, 10, I don't know, up to 50, 54 people can come together. They
Hmm.
can create groups like that. And once a week, they can come together as if they were going to a cafe, as if they were going to a park. So this will be a virtual park where people sit, they share their ideas, how they're coping with the isolation and with the physical distance, what is going on in their life to catch up and
Perfect.
and keep their relationships, at a very high gear.
And if they piss you off, all you have to do say end.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That
easier
easy.
than physically. Yeah, physically, if you leave the room, perhaps some people might be offended.
Mhm.
But here, because of the magic of technology, you can do so many things. You can turn off your camera
That's
so you
right.
are not seen, uh,
Yes, you
or you
can.
can mute yourself. So even if you use bad words and you are angry, other people will not understand what you said.
Right? Yes, I know. I
Yeah.
know what you're saying. This is
Okay.
awesome.
So,
So before you go
mm,
any further, I do wanna again ask you for a few tools, a few things that we can do to take care of ourselves, to bring us ourselves back to ground ourselves, to bring us to a good place.
yes. In the previous interview, when you invited me to be a guest on your program, we talked about the tools for managing stress,
Yes.
right? I will recommend that people who want to take good care of them is to find out as many ways that they can manage the stress in their life. And when they can manage their stress in their life, it will affect all the 11 systems in their body.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And or they can do, let's say, some of the things we talked about. Deep breathing is one of them. Meditation is another one. Prayers is another one. If people in the audience here, I believe most of them believe in a creator. If they believe in a creator, obviously in their faith, there will be ways to reach out and communicate, to pray, to contemplate, to reflect on their own life, to make a list of what is good about this situation. You know, uh, there is a saying in the human potential movement. It says that where where focus goes, energy flows, and that arena grows. So
That's good.
there is another.
I heard the first part, but this is the first time I'm hearing
Okay.
the second part.
Or the other way of putting it is that what you appreciate appreciates.
Yes.
Okay. So if you will look at a container that is full of things that are good and things that are bad, and you focus on the good things without ignoring the bad, focus on the good things will become bigger and bigger and bigger, and the impact of the bad things will become less and less until it vanishes.
Hmm.
So to have a positive attitude about life. So to make a list of, take a piece of paper, have a line in the middle, and on this side, I think this is the left side, uh, put all the good things that you can count because of this situation. Okay,
That are good to you.
that are good,
Okay.
and I'm sure you'll come to so many things that you won't have time to write the bad things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just write the good things and focus on them.
Um, Ahmed, is it okay if I ask you a question right here?
Sure.
Because I mean, a lot of us are home now with our spouses, and
Mm.
we're not used to that, right?
Yeah.
Because we've never spent so much time cooped up together.
Mm.
How do we manage that? Where do we get help for that? I'm talking personally.
Okay. Okay. That is a good question.
Don't tell
That is a good
anyone.
question. before people get married, they didn't have enough time to be with each other,
Yeah, it's
right?
true. Yeah.
Okay. So, and now some people, after living for 20 years or so much with each other, they they want some space, the physical space they want. Okay. Hopefully, they are not in the hearing distance that if you say something or shout, they can hear. Now, why that happens? Why that happens? There is a very a good way of looking at it. Okay. And that comes to the whole issue of what we were focusing on during the courting period, during the time before we got sick of each other. And in that time, we were only focusing on what was great about them.
We did the list and it was
We
really
did the list
long.
and we looked only about the great things and we
Yes,
completely ignored
absolutely.
that human being is not perfect, that we have all pluses and minuses.
Yes.
So what we did was we focused only on the pluses and we ignored the minuses, and the minuses grew out of control.
Mhm. Mhm.
In order to have control over it, to manage it properly, you cannot only focus on the one and ignore the other. You have to keep that balance. Okay. Having said that, now our relationships with people, especially with our spouses, affect the 6 basic human needs. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the way Tony Robbins explains the
Yes.
6 basic human needs.
Yes.
That is the need for certainty, the need for variety, the need for love and connection, the need for significance and importance, the need for growth, and the need for contribution beyond ourselves. Hmm? Prepare a list of these 6 needs and say, in that time before when we didn't have enough time to be together, how that relationship was satisfying these needs.
Mhm. For me
Once you write
personally,
down
yes.
and you say, oh, this is how this need was satisfied, this is
Mhm.
how this need was satisfied, this is how this need was satisfied, return to that routine.
Mhm. Mhm.
It will renew that, because when when we feel that we have had enough of this person and now we want to be on our own, both parties, if they understand that yes, there is a time for me to associate, to socialize, to hug, to whatever, there are the 5 love languages.
Yes.
Okay, so you are familiar with the 5 love languages,
Yes.
and each person has about 2 of those languages that are dominant,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Well, if you can communicate enough that you understand each other's love languages, and then you use those to communicate with them, that initial spark will be restored.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So you have
Uh,
a lot of work to do.
yeah, you know what? It's true, but we have all the time to now work on all these things. But I do also want to say, for me, I think it's important to have a little place for me where I can go to, and that's my space, and that's where I do my thing, and that's like my office is where I spend a
Yeah.
lot of time. So it doesn't necessarily mean that my husband and I have to spend 24 hours a day together. It just means that we're now more on, in the same space.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's
that's good.
right.
Let me acknowledge some people who have
Yeah.
joined us. So there is Muhammad Anwar Sahak, thank you for joining. There is Alem Shahrawan, thank you very much. There is Ahmad Wali Sherzai, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And there is Abdul Wahab Wardag,
So
thank you very much.
I
Okay.
also have here Dada Ian. I have Sahra, Kusha, Navid, and Mirelli. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in tonight. Um, anybody else on your screen, Ahmed?
No, I think that those are the ones. Sure, I'm sure there are some people who are watching, but they haven't sent any message or their name, so we may not know. But I hope that everybody enjoyed this conversation. I hope they will benefit by it. And I don't know if you have any more questions. I'm here, but
N-
otherwise we can call it a night.
No, I think it's great. I think we touched on a lot of stuff. There's so much that more that we can say. I mean, this is the time. I'm sure we can come back and maybe another day talk about those love languages that you so generously mentioned. I don't remember them all, but I think you do. So we can talk about them in flourishing our relationships a little bit more and getting more understanding. If you're okay with that, we'll do that another night, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
I think as long as this situation is on, we want to help our community, our tribe,
Absolutely.
right?
And I do want to say this. Oh, Rosemary Especial, thank you. Very interesting and informative. You're welcome, Rosemary.
Thank you, Rosemary.
um, Again, I want to reiterate that in order for us to be helpful to our any of our relationships, we first have to be okay with our relationship with ourselves.
With ourselves.
And
And
so, yeah,
so one lasting impression that I want to leave with you as well as uh,
do it.
with our tribe, okay? And that is from my experience of the past several decades, if I might say, what I have learned is that the quality of our life depends on the quality of our relationships.
I love it. And you say this all the time, and
Yeah.
it's just so
And
true.
and the quality of our
Relationship.
relationships depend on the quality of our communication skills.
Yes.
So if anything, people want to improve their relationships, and they have plenty of time, is to improve their communication skills
Hmm.
by whatever way they want. But if they want to reach out to me, I can guide them how they can improve that.
Yes, you can.
They
Yes, you
can leave
can.
me a message.
Speaking of communication, we better communicate with the people who've left us messages again. Kusha, thank you for this helpful conversation. You're welcome. Farida, wish you all healthy and happy weekend, and you as well, my friend. Malkan, thanks for from both of you. You're welcome. And so happy that you were on here, Ahmed. Thank you for the
Well,
gem of information you shared with us. It's
thank you for
highly appreciated.
inviting me to be a guest on your show. And thank you for all the viewers. I really uh, acknowledge you, and I appreciate that you are here and you listen to us. I hope you
Yes,
liked it. Please leave your comments. We'll come to the comments later on and encourage us.
yes, and
And
yes, it will be on YouTube. No worries. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Ahmad-Shah. I wish you
thank
a
you.
great night. I hope to speak to you very soon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And as always, this is Dela, hoping to spark your soul. Have a good night.